You have seen it, everybody. The technical all-for-one video is here. I said this when I was talking about making this in the Froppy video, but this was originally just me talking about his, the nerfs he received, which he did not need an alpha nerf to his 2 damage, but still, I was just going to talk about those. I did not plan to, upload a guide on him, but, I might just become the guy for all 60 people on the roster for this fucking game. And, I'm perfectly fine with that. There are a lot of people I know how to use and a lot of tips that I think people that are picking up these characters should know. But for now, we're talking about technical all-for-one. And it's going to be just like the last 2 I did. But this time it's going to be more in-depth because I believe there is more to this character than there were to the last 2. In terms of things that you can use. At least as far as my experience goes. Tech AFO's alpha is just another normal projectile alpha. Nothing really all that special about it when you just tap the button. However, it does have a charge variant that does cost more ammo and moves slower, but it does do way more damage. His beta is this. I don't really have much to explain. However, it can be held for longer to do more damage. Moving on to his gamma, he can push others away when you tap it. However, when held, it can pull enemies towards him, specifically directly in front of him. Now, when you think of technical all-for-one, you may think of classic combos like tapping your beta and then doing the 2 alphas right after it, or holding your beta for a second and following up with an alpha right after. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but I am something that you would tend to call an absolute fucking sweat. Now, technical all-for-one's melee string does something that we tend to call soft knock right after it instead of hard knock. And as you can see, right after we hit that last melee, there's a part where he's vulnerable before he does his little flip. Which means there's a small window of opportunity for you to slide in an alpha before he can just recover. And if you happen to have the eyes of an absolute hawk, you'd have to notice that the charge alpha has the same effect. However, this also only works after a certain range. Under the comments of the Froppy video, and by the way, I don't record audio usually when with gameplay, at least my voice, so I just doing this just to talk over it, so it's, you'll have some sort of vocal stimulation or whatever, because I might be a sweat with technical all-for-one, but I'm not the best, not near the best. But regardless, I did get this suggestion from a comment under the Froppy video that to, pad out runtime, I should just put like a game or 2 of my gameplay as the character using, most of the tips that I suggested. And, I think that's a pretty good idea. I think it's a great idea. I think I'll do it, And there's going to be a lot of, cuts everywhere because, my Xbox is being weird with, clipping that is longer than a singular minute. Or, even 30 seconds. Because it's just weird. But, I'm going to take these moments of silence to just talk about the things I want to make, clear and evident, in all honesty. While I, talk about whatever. And, among the things I want to say is that, I've received multiple questions from other people about what I'm going to do with the, things of where I'm talking about, my absolutely abysmally dogshit take of, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not a terrible take that, my hero have a dupe slop problem or whatever it's called. I might have just been talking about the wrong things, but, you know, I'm not going to talk about them again because I don't fucking want to, you know? And it's another thing that makes me mad that as soon as I, you know, I was a very small creator, very, very, very niche creator, a niche within a niche. And that as soon as I make this video about a controversial opinion I don't entirely believe in, you know, it all of a sudden becomes the biggest thing I've ever made. And, you know, I did actually say that when talking about it one time, that if my Froppy video, which I talked about, did worse than that, and it performed absolutely terribly, then I would get fucking mad. And, you know, I'm very fucking mad about it. Because, you know, I put more effort into the Froppy video than I did about either than both of those two videos combined. And it really just pisses me off that, you know, that's what gets me clicks. That's what gets me notoriety. That's what, you know, that's probably what I'm going to be known for a decent while. As the guy who, you know, called out these people and said this and made all these people mad. You know, I'm not going to take those down, you know, but I am just going to say that, you know, if you're going to, I'm probably not going to do anything like that. So if you're came for me talking about things like that, you're probably going to be seeing those every like few months when it's like a very, very serious thing. You know, unless like it's a very big thing, a very prominent thing. I'm probably never going to touch on it ever unless it's that. You know, it's something to really piss me off. You know, because they say any publicity is good publicity, and I don't really believe that. You know, I believe in having, you know, a good reputation, that's not built on putting others down. I just really want people to enjoy what I do for who I am, not what I talk about, right? I want people to, you know, go off from this and, like, have a better outlook on things, you know? Like, this is not, whatever. I'm not a motivational speaker or whatever. I just want to make it, you know, well known that I'm not going to talk about controversial shit, okay? I do not want to talk about controversial shit. I'm never going to talk about controversial shit. I don't plan on it. I probably will never do that, okay? God damn, this I'm afraid of this over. I could probably go on about that if I knew exactly what I wanted to say. But then again, there's also the fact that I wouldn't know how to say it as well. It's, I don't know. I'm confusing myself. You know? I'm also not that very good at, you know, talking, really. But you know, I still, just to reiterate my point, I want to, you know, make sure I am well known as, you know, not that guy that does things not good. It's stuff. I want to have quality. I want to make sure I know what I'm doing. I want to make sure that people know exactly what I'm doing and that they enjoy what I'm doing. Because then what's the point if people don't enjoy your content? Like, if in content creation, I believe that should be your main goal, is, you know, finding people that enjoy what you do for what it is, not who you are. I mean, that's a big part of it. That's a very big part of it. You know, you should find people that fit your niche of what you do, you know? Whether it's voice acting, animating, playing games, talking about games, or other things. you should just try and find what you're drawn to, and really talk about that. You know, as long as it doesn't cause any problems, you should be able to express your own opinions on your own accord. But that's all I'm gonna really say about it. Because you shouldn't be aiming for like clout. You shouldn't be chasing clout as your main priority. You shouldn't be chasing getting your videos reacted to. You should not expect people to like your content, because not everyone is going to like what you do. You shouldn't expect good people that are like really, really big in the content space to automatically enjoy what you do and automatically have a reaction to it. What you should, because that is typically a follow-up of you made a good video, so people are reacting to it. All in all, I hope you enjoyed the video, even if you or in my little teeny rant there. I'm probably gonna do this more often, where I rant over the gameplay clip. Say things that I think people should think about. Maybe if I don't have things to say about that day, I'd just say things that people should take away from it, or just reiterate. But regardless, if you like the video, do like, subscribe, and do whatever you want about it. It's free and helps me and stuff.